How many times have you felt that your mornings, instead of energizing you, leave you more tired than when you woke up? Maybe it was that natural orange juice that seemed like a good idea, or that super soft bread that, even though it goes down easy, ends up making you feel heavy all day. And there you are, wondering why, despite trying to take care of yourself, your body isn't responding like it used to. Don't worry, you're not alone, and you're definitely not doomed to stay stuck in this vicious cycle. I'm Gabriel, and in this video, we're going to talk about those breakfasts that, no matter how tempting or common they seem, could be sabotaging your health right when you need to take care of it the most. We're going to uncover those little mistakes that go unnoticed and gradually drain your vitality. Stick with me, because by the end, you won't just know what to avoid. You'll know how to start your day with strength, clarity, and the confidence that you're doing the best for your body and your well-being. Ready? Let's get to it. Number 1. The hidden sugar that steals your energy. Have you ever felt that instead of feeling energized after breakfast, you end up with this inexplicable fatigue, like your body is dragging itself rather than moving forward? That tiredness isn't always part of aging or natural wear and tear, even if we sometimes try to convince ourselves it is. The truth is, in many cases, it's our morning choices working against us, and one of the biggest culprits is the sugar hiding where we least expect it. Healthy cereals, supposedly whole-grain breads, even seemingly innocent yogurts are loaded with sugars that not only mess with your energy, but also silently undermine your long-term well-being. The problem with these foods is that they spike your blood sugar levels, giving you a false burst of energy, like a match that flares up and dies out instantly. This energy spike is usually followed by a sudden crash that leaves you feeling exhausted and, to top it off, even hungrier. And so begins a cycle of dependence that keeps you trapped between highs and lows, where your body never feels stable or truly energized. Even more concerning is how this pattern affects your arterial health and metabolism, quietly fueling issues like chronic inflammation and high cholesterol, those invisible enemies that can compromise your independence and quality of life. The Stoics used to say that a balanced life begins with mastering our most basic desires. Epictetus, for example, spoke about the importance of not letting ourselves be ruled by what superficially attracts us. When looking at those sweet foods, it's easy to give in to comfort or momentary pleasure. But the real question is, what price are you paying for that fleeting indulgence? Modern science backs up this reflection. Studies have shown that a diet high in sugar not only impacts your physical health, but also affects your mood and mental clarity. If you've ever felt irritable or had trouble concentrating after breakfast, this is probably the reason why. But this isn't about blaming ourselves for the choices we've made up until now. It's about learning and choosing better, knowing that small changes can have a profound impact on our vitality. Imagine starting your mornings with a meal that genuinely gives you lasting energy, allowing you to move forward with confidence, knowing your body is well taken care of. It's not just about health. It's an act of self-love, of respect toward yourself and the life you still have to live. The next time you see a brightly colored cereal or a yogurt promising miracles on its label, stop and think. How true is that message? Remember, simple and natural are often the best choices. As Marcus Aurelius said, stop debating what a good life should be and just live it. And that living starts with the small decisions you make each day, like what you put on your plate every morning. The good news is, we're not doomed to keep making these mistakes. There are delicious and nutritious ways to start your day without relying on hidden sugars, and in the next chapter, I'll tell you about one of the biggest enemies disguised as a friend at breakfast. Curious? Then let's keep going. Number 2, say no to processed meats that harm your heart. In a small village in Italy, where the Mediterranean diet has been the secret to longevity for centuries, lived Vittorio, a man who had reached 80 years old, with a vitality many envied. His days began early, walking through the olive groves and enjoying a light breakfast of whole-grain bread, fresh fruits, and olive oil. But his story has a curious twist. Vittorio hadn't always lived this way. In his youth, during the post-war years, he and his family relied on cheap processed foods and cold cuts that, while tasty, were their only option to survive during tough times. Over the years, that diet loaded with salt and preservatives began to take its toll. By the time he was 50, Vittorio was diagnosed with high blood pressure and elevated cholesterol, issues that forced him to face an important decision: continue with the habits his surroundings considered normal or completely change his relationship with food. Inspired by his grandfather's words, who would say, "The earth gives us what we need, not what kills us," Vittorio decided to return to simplicity and nature, turning away from the processed meats that had done him so much harm. In a short time, his energy levels improved, his heart health stabilized, and his life extended far beyond what his doctors had predicted. Processed meats are a silent enemy that many overlook because they are loaded with flavor and associated with family moments, a breakfast with sausage or a ham sandwich. But behind that harmless appearance, these processed foods are packed with sodium, saturated fats, and nitrites that not only raise blood pressure but also inflame the arteries, increasing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. The World Health Organization classifies some processed meats as carcinogenic, meaning that even small, regular amounts can contribute to serious health problems over time. Stoic philosophy invites us to look beyond momentary pleasures and question whether what we do now aligns with long-term well-being. Seneca, with his timeless wisdom, said, "It is useless to live if you cannot live well." What does it mean to live well? In this context, it means taking care of the body we have, respecting it as the instrument that allows us to enjoy life. And as science teaches us, living well means avoiding what doesn't serve us, even if it's hard to say no to that flavor we crave so much. Imagine Vittorio facing his favorite dish, the one that reminded him of his childhood days, but choosing to replace it with something healthier. That act, though simple, was a gesture of self-love and awareness, a reminder that, while we can't control how long we live, we can influence how we live. Processed meats, with all their charm, are a trap that pulls us away from that purpose, and replacing them with fresh, natural options is one of the wisest decisions you can make. The next time you see a plate full of processed meats on the table, remember Vittorio and the transformation he experienced by returning to the essentials. Ask yourself if what you're choosing today is building up or wearing down your well-being. And if the doubt persists, trust that there are alternatives that will fill you with energy and allow you to enjoy an active, fulfilling, and conscious life. In the next lesson, we'll talk about another morning habit that, though seemingly harmless, could be working against your health in ways you might not even imagine. Number 3, the trap of industrial coffee creamer. Picture this. You wake up in the morning, make yourself a cup of coffee, and like you've done for years, you add that rich, creamy delight that promises to enhance the flavor with a smooth, sweet touch. It's an almost automatic ritual, something you associate with starting your day. But have you ever stopped to look at the ingredients in that creamer? Behind that attractive packaging are hydrogenated oils, added sugars, and additives that not only affect your health, but also the energy and vitality you bring to your day. I want to suggest a small exercise for tomorrow morning. Prepare your usual coffee, but this time skip the industrial creamer. Instead, add a splash of unsweetened plant-based milk like almond or oat milk, or even try a dash of coconut oil, which not only provides creaminess, but also contains healthy fats that support brain function. As you do this, reflect on the Stoic idea of living in accordance with nature. Marcus Aurelius spoke of how simplicity and the essential bring us closer to harmony. Changing something as small as what you add to your coffee is a reminder that we can find balance in the details, starting with how we treat our bodies. Modern science backs up this idea. Studies have shown that the additives present in many artificial creamers not only affect metabolic health, but can also mess with your energy levels throughout the day. Added sweeteners cause glucose spikes and crashes, while hydrogenated oils promote inflammation, especially harming cardiovascular health. Making a simple change like replacing those creamers with natural options can be the first step toward feeling lighter and mentally clearer. If you've made it this far, I want to invite you to do one more thing. Subscribe to the channel and give this video a like if you're enjoying this content. I'm here to share practical tools and reflections to help you live with purpose and vitality. And since we're in this together, let me know in the comments which country you're listening from. I love knowing how far this community reaches and what changes you're implementing in your lives. Remember, this exercise isn't just about coffee, it's about your relationship with your daily habits. Sometimes we think big changes require huge sacrifices, but the truth is that everything starts with a small, conscious act. What you choose in the morning sets the tone for your entire day. So tomorrow, when you prepare your coffee, ask yourself, am I nourishing my body or just following a habit that takes more from me than it gives? That question could be the beginning of a deeper transformation, one that brings you closer to the balanced and fulfilling life you deserve. Number 4. White bread, an enemy in disguise. Imagine for a moment that your arteries are like a clear, peaceful river flowing effortlessly. Now imagine someone starts throwing debris into the water. At first, nothing seems to happen. The flow continues. But over time, the debris builds up, the water becomes murky, and the river loses its ability to flow freely. That's exactly what happens in your body when you regularly consume white bread. At first glance, it seems harmless. It's fluffy, soft, and goes well with just about anything. But behind that simplicity lies a food that, far from nourishing you, becomes an obstacle to your vitality. White bread is made from refined flour, an ingredient stripped of almost all its nutritional value. What's left is basically starch, which your body processes as sugar almost immediately. Every bite you take not only spikes your blood sugar levels, but also triggers excess insulin production, eventually leading to chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, and in more severe cases, type 2 diabetes. And while this sounds alarming, the most shocking part is that white bread doesn't provide the lasting energy you need to face your day. On the contrary, it leaves you feeling tired, sluggish, and hungry not long after eating it. You might wonder, how can something so common and seemingly innocent cause so much harm? The problem isn't just white bread itself, it's how we've normalized it. In many cultures, it has become a staple of the daily diet, a symbol of the ordinary, so much so that we rarely question its impact. Marcus Aurelius said that we must wake up and see things as they are, not as they appear to be. And that applies perfectly here. Behind the simple appearance of white bread lies a trap that slowly undermines your health and your independence. Try a little exercise with me. Think about your typical breakfast. If it includes white bread, ask yourself, how do I feel afterward? Full of energy or heavier, as if something is holding you back? Now, imagine replacing that bread with a slice of real whole grain bread made from whole grains and packed with fiber that nourishes not only your body, but also your gut microbiome. Your energy would be more stable and your body grateful for the change would respond with lightness and vitality. To visualize the difference, think of white bread as a piece of paper that burns quickly when touched by fire. It produces heat, sure, but only for an instant, and then nothing remains. In contrast, whole grain bread is like a sturdy log that feeds the flame consistently, steadily, and efficiently. Your body needs that kind of fuel, especially at this stage of your life where every choice matters more than ever. If you find it hard to let go of white bread, start gradually. Swap out one serving a day, notice how you feel, and build from there. This isn't just a trivial change, it's a declaration of respect for your body and a commitment to living a fuller, healthier life. The next time you see white bread on your table, ask yourself if it's truly what your body needs to flow, like that clear, pristine river we talked about at the beginning. Because in the end, every decision you make about what you consume defines not only your health, but also the freedom with which you can move through life. Number 5, avoid dairy that causes inflammation. Have you ever noticed how something that once felt comforting now leaves you feeling bloated, heavy, or even with stomach discomfort you didn't have before? This is no coincidence. As we age, our bodies change, and what we used to digest without a problem can turn into a silent enemy of our health. Dairy products, in particular, are a perfect example. That glass of milk or slice of cheese you once considered essential to your diet might now be causing inflammation in your body without you even noticing. As we get older, many of us produce less lactase, the enzyme needed to digest lactose, the sugar found in dairy. This can lead to problems like bloating, gas, or digestive discomfort, but the impact can run much deeper. Dairy, especially the heavily processed kind, is linked to chronic inflammation, a slow-burning fire that affects your joints, your arteries, and your overall vitality. Even if the inflammation isn't always obvious, it can gradually wear your body down, draining your energy and quality of life. And it's not just about physical discomfort. Inflammation can also affect your mental clarity. Some studies suggest a connection between systemic inflammation and cognitive decline, something we need to be more mindful of at this stage of life. It's a powerful reminder that what you eat affects not only how you feel physically, but also how you think, make decisions, and face each day. The philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The first wealth is health," and that wealth isn't found in what we spend on doctors or treatments, it's in how we choose to care for our bodies day by day. While dairy products have their place in many traditional diets, the question you need to ask yourself is, are they truly helping me at this stage of my life? This doesn't mean you have to completely eliminate all dairy from your diet, but it does mean being more mindful of your choices. Fermented dairy products like unsweetened yogurt or kefir are much gentler on your digestive system because they contain probiotics that support your gut microbiome, the community of bacteria playing a crucial role in your health. On the other hand, aged cheeses, although delicious, tend to be high in saturated fats and salt, which can be problematic if not consumed in moderation. Let's do a small exercise. Think about how you feel after consuming dairy. Do you feel light, energized, and at peace? Or do you feel heavy, uncomfortable, or even inexplicably tired? That feeling is a signal from your body, a guide we often ignore because we cling to habits or traditions from the past. But as Seneca said, it is part of a balanced mind to let go cheerfully of things that no longer serve you. Maybe it's time to question whether some foods you've considered essential are truly supporting your well-being or quietly undermining it. If you decide to cut back on dairy, there are wonderful alternatives that are not only delicious, but also much kinder to your body. Plant-based milks like almond, oat, or coconut milk can be excellent replacements for regular milk, with the added benefit of being free from lactose and inflammation. The key isn't about depriving yourself, but finding options that align with the care you deserve. Take a moment to reflect. What else in your life are you holding on to, even though it no longer serves you? Dairy is just one example of how our daily choices can be disconnected from what we truly need to live with vitality. Making conscious decisions about what you put into your body is an act of respect, a declaration that you are ready to live with more lightness, energy, and purpose. Number 6, fruit juice, sweet but deceptive. Imagine a peaceful morning, sunlight streaming through the window, and a glass of fresh orange juice on your table. It seems like the perfect breakfast, right? But behind that vibrant color and comforting sweetness, there may be one of the most common traps for your health. Although fruit juice has been marketed for decades as a symbol of wellness, the reality is that, for many, it can be more of an enemy than an ally. When you squeeze a fruit, you get its concentrated sugar, but leave out the most valuable part, the fiber. That fiber acts as a natural brake, regulating the speed at which sugar is absorbed by your body. Without it, juice becomes a sort of sugar bomb that spikes your blood sugar levels within minutes. This quick spike can make you feel a burst of energy, but what follows is a crash that leaves you feeling tired, irritable, and even hungrier than you were before. What seemed like a healthy option ends up being a source of highs and lows that wear down both your body and mind. Think about this. Drinking a glass of juice is like consuming the sugar of 3 or 4 oranges, but without the satisfaction those whole fruits would have provided. Plus, that excess sugar your body doesn't use turns into fat, silently accumulating in places like your abdomen or worse, around your internal organs. Over time, this habit can contribute to problems like insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and a decline in your cardiovascular health. The paradox here is that while juice comes from something natural, its effect on the body is anything but. As the philosopher Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. And that includes what we choose to drink each morning. Swapping that glass of juice for a whole fruit is a small gesture that not only protects your physical health, but also establishes a new habit of mindfulness and self-care. I want you to try something with me. The next time you crave juice, grab a whole orange instead. Peel it, savor each bite, and feel how your body appreciates the fiber and nutrients delivered exactly as nature designed them. Do you notice the difference? More lasting fullness, fewer energy crashes, and more stable energy to tackle your day. And the best part is, you're not only nourishing your body, but also strengthening your ability to make wiser choices. Science supports this approach as well. Studies have shown that eating whole fruits rather than their juiced versions significantly reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. The fiber, so often ignored, acts as a protective shield that regulates the impact of sugars on your body while nourishing the good bacteria in your gut, essential for overall health. Fruit juice, with all its sweetness, leaves us with a deeper lesson. Not everything that seems good actually is. Sometimes the simplest solutions, like choosing fruit in its original form, are the ones that make the greatest impact on our lives. This change doesn't require effort, just a bit of awareness and the decision to care for yourself the way you deserve. Because every choice you make throughout your day is a reflection of how much you value the life ahead of you. And within that reflection lies the key to a vitality that doesn't fade with time, but grows stronger with every small act of self-love. Number 7, the uncomfortable truth about healthy bars. Sometimes we look for quick fixes in our lives, shortcuts that promise ease and convenience. Healthy bars are a perfect example of this search. They're marketed as the ideal ally, convenient, packed with energy, and covered in labels that seem to scream nutrition and wellness. But the reality behind those promises is, at the very least, unsettling. Most of the time, these bars are little more than candy in disguise, loaded with hidden sugars, preservatives, and processed oils that not only sabotage your health, but also distract you from what truly matters, listening to what your body actually needs. The problem isn't just what they contain, it's what they represent. These bars appeal to our desire to do more, move faster, and meet our needs with the least amount of time and effort. But at what cost? Every time you grab one, you're choosing haste over mindfulness, noise over calm. The Stoics, who advocated for living with intention, warned about the dangers of being led by the superficial. Seneca once said, "No wind is favorable for the one who doesn't know where they are going." And here's the issue. We often eat out of habit without stopping to consider how what we consume affects our energy, our mind, and even our emotions. From a scientific perspective, the impact of these bars on your body can be surprising. The sugar spikes they cause not only destabilize your energy levels, but also feed a cycle of dependency that can harm your metabolic health. Worse still, the additives and preservatives they contain can interfere with your gut microbiome, affecting not only your digestion, but also your mood and immune system. And all of this happens while we think we're making a better choice. It's an illusion worth questioning. Now, imagine for a moment that instead of reaching for that bar promising the impossible, you choose something simple, a piece of fruit, a handful of nuts, or even a little natural yogurt with seeds. Not only would you be truly nourishing yourself, but you'd also be taking a moment to pause, a conscious act that reconnects you with your body and its real needs. It's not just about the quality of the food, it's about choosing it from a place of respect toward yourself. Buddhism, with its emphasis on mindfulness, teaches us that every action can be a meditation. Eating is no exception. If you take the time to truly notice what you're consuming, to savor it, to be grateful for it, something changes. You stop feeding yourself out of hurry and start doing it from a place of awareness. That difference, though it may seem small, is enormous, because it not only transforms your relationship with food, but also with yourself. It reminds you that you deserve the best, that every choice matters, and that speed will never be more valuable than peace. Think about this. How many times in your life have you accepted something that seemed convenient, but deep down wasn't good for you? Those bars are a metaphor for so many things in our lives that promise convenience but distance us from what truly matters. Maybe today is the day to stop chasing shortcuts and start investing more time and attention in what truly nourishes not just your body, but your spirit as well. In the end, real energy doesn't come from what's quick or easy, but from what's genuine and filled with intention. Number 8. Purposeful mornings. Nourish your health. Every day begins the same way. The alarm rings, you get up, and almost on autopilot, you repeat the same routines as always. Maybe you grab a quick coffee, turn on the news, or just let the day unfold as it will. But when was the last time you dedicated the first few minutes of your morning to something that truly nourished both your body and your mind? Mornings are the perfect time to plant the seeds of a day filled with vitality, but when we fill them with rush and mindless decisions, we miss out on an invaluable opportunity to improve our health and our lives. I want to challenge you with something simple. Before having breakfast tomorrow, take 5 minutes for a small yet powerful ritual. It can be as basic as drinking a glass of warm water with lemon while taking deep breaths and thinking of one thing you feel grateful for. This gesture, though it may seem insignificant, has a direct impact on both your body and your mind. The lemon water rehydrates your body after hours of rest, kickstarts your digestive system, and helps eliminate toxins accumulated overnight. But beyond the physical benefits, that brief pause connects you with yourself, allowing you to start the day with clarity and purpose instead of the usual chaos that so often takes over. In Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius spoke about the importance of preparing the mind to face the day. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Taking a moment to pause before the demands of the day take control is an act of self-respect. It's a reminder that you are not just a spectator of your life, but its protagonist, and your choices matter, even the smallest ones. Science supports this approach too. Studies on morning hydration show that starting the day with water improves brain function, boosts energy levels, and supports metabolic health. On the other hand, practicing gratitude, even in a simple way, has profound effects on your emotional well-being, reducing stress and improving your mood. These two acts combined, though they may seem trivial, create a solid foundation for facing your day from a place of balance and strength. This challenge doesn't require effort, just intention. Tomorrow, when you wake up, have that glass of warm lemon water, breathe deeply, and reflect on one reason to be grateful. It doesn't have to be anything grand. It can be as simple as the fresh air coming through the window or the chance to start again. It's a small habit, but a powerful one that grounds you in the present and reminds you that each day is a new opportunity to take care of yourself. Mornings without purpose not only drain your energy, but also disconnect you from the possibility of living more fully. By filling that space with intention, you are creating a ritual of self-care that nourishes not only your body, but also your spirit. Because in the end, it's not about making huge changes, but about small actions repeated with self-love. What you do upon waking has the power to transform the rest of your day. And that transformation begins with a simple glass of water, a moment of gratitude, and the decision to choose yourself. We've reached the end of this journey, and I want to take a moment to thank you for staying with me all the way through. This isn't just a simple video about what to avoid at breakfast. It's an invitation to take care of yourself from the most essential place, those small daily decisions that can transform your health and, with it, your life. Choosing mindfully what you put on your plate each morning isn't just about nutrition, it's an act of self-love, a declaration that you value your body, your energy, and the days you still have ahead. I'm Gabriel, and on this channel, I love sharing practical insights and reflections to help you live this stage of your life with more vitality, clarity, and purpose. If this content resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming topics we'll be exploring together. Here, you'll always find a place to reflect, learn, and discover new ways to care for yourself. I especially want to acknowledge those of you who have made it to the end because I know not everyone has the commitment to listen, reflect, and take action. If you're here, it's because you take your well-being seriously and want to take conscious steps toward a more fulfilling life. I'd love to know where you're watching from, so comment with the phrase, "My health is wealth," and share your country. Knowing that we're connected, even if we're miles apart, is one of the greatest rewards I have from sharing this content. If anything you heard today made you think of a friend, a family member, or someone who could benefit from these lessons, I invite you to share this video with them. Sometimes, a simple gesture like sharing an idea can be the push someone needs to make an important change in their life. And if I've learned anything, it's that taking care of our health also means caring for those around us. Thank you for your time, your attention, and most of all, your willingness to take care of yourself. Keep choosing yourself every day with intention, because there's no greater gift than living a life with awareness and purpose. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, keep moving forward, step by step, toward that stronger, freer, and more fulfilled version of yourself.